The thief who broke into the Queen's bedroom while she slept. Or maybe while she was already awake. It's a quiet London morning. Inside Buckingham Palace, the clocks don't just tell time, they guard it. Every corridor is polished, every door has rules, every footstep is supposed to belong to someone with permission. And yet, one ordinary man, no uniform, no insider badge, no movie-style gadgets, climbed the palace wall, slipped past alarms, wandered the royal corridors, and ended up face-to-face with Queen Elizabeth II in her own bedroom. Pause. Because the scariest part isn't that he got in. It's that he got in so easily. 1. The man who decided the palace could be beaten. His name was Michael Fagan, a Londoner, a working-class painter and decorator, and at the time, someone whose life was fraying at the edges. He wasn't a trained thief in the Hollywood sense, no master plan with blueprints, just a reckless idea that turned into a national scandal. And here's the detail most people miss. July 9th, 1982 wasn't even his first time inside the palace. He had already broken in earlier that month, wandered around, set off alarms that were dismissed, and left without being caught. That first break-in mattered for one reason. It taught him the unthinkable, that Buckingham Palace, the most famous, protected home on Earth, could be treated like a building with bad customer service. Beat. So he came back. 2. The wall. 14 feet, spikes, wire, and a man who kept climbing. Early on the morning of July 9th, 1982, around 6 a.m., Fagan reached the palace perimeter. The wall was about 14 feet high, topped with deterrents, including revolving spikes and barbed wire. This is usually where the story should end. A normal person looks up and thinks, "Not happening." But Fagan climbed anyway. He hauled himself up, got over the top, dropped into the grounds, and kept moving, like someone who'd already decided reality had different rules for him that morning. Pause. Now comes the part where the palace's security system did exactly what it was designed to do, and humans did not. 3. The drain pipe, the palace's ladder nobody expected to be used. Once inside the grounds, Fagan found what he needed, a drain pipe running up the building. He climbed it, and as he climbed, an alarm sensor detected movement. This is the moment the system tried to scream, "Intruder." But police reportedly believed the alarm was faulty, again, and it was silenced. Let that sink in. An alarm goes off at Buckingham Palace, and the response is basically, probably nothing. Beat. Fagan reached a window, got inside, and stepped into the palace like he belonged there. 4. The corridors. How you walk through history without anyone stopping you. Inside he wandered, hallways, rooms, corners that were never meant to see a stranger's face. According to accounts of his earlier break-in, he'd even roamed long enough to trip multiple alarms that were dismissed, and he'd spent time looking at portraits, sitting on furniture meant for symbols, not people. But on July 9th, he wasn't sightseeing. He was moving deeper, toward the private apartments. And the palace, incredibly, was lined up for the worst possible timing. A police officer assigned to guard a key corridor had gone off duty around that time. A footman was out walking the Queen's dogs. Other staff were busy elsewhere behind closed doors. It wasn't one single failure. It was a chain that led to one door. 5. The bedroom. The moment the world's most guarded woman wasn't guarded. Fagan reached Queen Elizabeth II's bedroom, and the accounts diverge on a famous detail. Was she asleep? Many retellings say she woke up to find him there, Others, including later reporting, note that she may have been awake when he entered, but the core truth stays the same. He was inside her bedroom. He drew close enough to be unmistakably real. Not a dream, not a shadow, a living stranger in the Queen's private space. Long beat. And the Queen, in a situation that would make most people freeze, did something quietly extraordinary. She stayed composed. 6. The conversation. Not a dramatic speech, a tense, awkward reality. Pop culture loves to rewrite this part. Some dramatizations suggest a long political discussion, but reliable reporting and official context point to something far more realistic. The conversation was minimal, brief, tense, unscripted. Fagan later gave versions of the encounter that emphasized how quickly it turned into the Queen trying to get him out, not entertaining him, not debating him. Picture it. The Queen in her bedroom, trying to keep control of the moment. A man who's already crossed lines you can't uncross. Silence in the air that feels like pressure. And then her instincts kick in. She begins trying to summon help. 7. The calls for help, the most unbelievable nobody's coming moment. This is where the story turns from shocking to almost surreal. The Queen used the room's systems, buzzing, calling, alerting, attempting to reach staff and security, but help didn't immediately arrive, not because nobody cared, but because the palace's response chain was sluggish, confused, and in key moments, ineffective. Later, the UK government discussed the incident publicly, and an inquiry concluded the basic cause wasn't only technical, it was also a failure in urgent police response and supervision, which means the nightmare scenario wasn't just intruder, it was intruder, and the system hesitates. Beat. So the Queen did what smart people do in emergencies. She kept him talking just enough and kept herself safe enough until another human finally entered the scene. 8. The footman. The moment normal life collided with royal crisis. Eventually, a footman named Paul Wybrew was summoned. He later described finding the intruder tense and trying to calm the situation, even offering him a drink to keep him manageable. And it worked, briefly. Because sometimes the fastest way to control chaos isn't force, it's de-escalation. Fagan was moved away from the Queen's bedroom area and toward a pantry/corridor space, and only then did police finally take him into custody. Pause. The Queen was safe, but the palace's image of invulnerability? That was finished. 9. The aftermath. The day Buckingham Palace had to admit it's a building, not a myth. The break-in became one of the most notorious security failures in modern royal history, and it triggered a very real response. Official scrutiny, public outrage, security reviews, disciplinary consequences in policing and supervision. Because the public wasn't just reacting to one man climbing a wall. They were reacting to a terrifying idea. If he could do it, then who else could? 10. The real how. What actually let him reach her? So if you strip away the legend and keep the mechanics, here's how Michael Fagan did it. He scaled the 14-foot perimeter wall with deterrents on top. He crossed the palace grounds and found a route up the building. He climbed a drain pipe, basically turning palace architecture into a ladder. An alarm triggered but was dismissed as faulty, buying him time. He entered through a window and wandered corridors with staggeringly little interruption. A perfect storm of human gaps, staffing timing, slow response, miscommunication, let him reach the royal apartments. He entered the Queen's bedroom and spoke with her briefly until staff finally arrived. That's the truth behind the headline. Not superhuman skill, just persistence, and a system that blinked at the wrong time. Closing. There's a reason this story still lands like a punch decades later. Because it isn't only about a palace. It's about the fragile space between security and assumption. The assumption that someone is watching. The assumption that the alarm means action. The assumption that this couldn't happen here. And on a quiet morning in July 1982, one man proved that assumptions don't guard doors. People do.